Hi. I have 24 minutes left on the camera in terms of what I can record. It's still January 26th. Yes, January 26th. I just finished my Zoom appointment with this person that I was reconnecting with. So grateful I reconnected with her. She's so amazing. I mean, such a heart, right? And in our conversation, I hadn't connected with this person in a very long time, like last year, summer maybe of last year. She had no idea what I was going through. And as I'm opening up and sharing with her what's going on, she shares with me too, you know, her journey and you know, we're just mutually sharing. And it was so nice. Again, this balanced give and take flow in our conversation. And as I'm talking to her, right, I am being mindful of how I'm sharing information. And I think I mentioned it in one of the previous videos about when I start talking about certain experiences, people are like, yeah. And then the moment I talk about tarot, you know, again, this taboo, this belief. And I don't remember if I mentioned this in another video or if it was in my interaction with her where it came up, but we were talking about how the myths behind it, right? And how I'm using it as a tool, right? Using it as a tool, like the daily devotionals, like the Bible, like it's a tool to guide you, right? The Bible is often looked at. It's a guidebook to life, right? A tool. It's a tool. Tarot is a tool. That's all it is. It's a tool. I'm not adoring it. I'm not putting it on a pedestal, right? Not to say that everyone who does tarot doesn't do that. I don't know. To each their own, right? What I'm learning is to discern the difference. I've been on both extremes, right? Where it was too consuming and where it led me to where I had no thought about it at all, where I actually thought it was a devil, stay away from it. I've been on both extremes. And when I was talking to her this morning was, you know, you need to experience the extremes in order to find the balance within, right? Discern the information in a balanced way. Same thing, you know, growing up, I was, you know, there was this anti-Catholic type of message intergenerationally that was communicated. And I remember growing up, meeting people of that faith, seeing their heart, and I'm like, no, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense to me. To believe this and see people's hearts and see them love and the passion that they have for their belief, like it just doesn't make sense, right? One extreme versus the other, balance. And so what I've learned is whatever faith, whatever belief, whatever truth you hold, right? As long as it's balanced, that's what's important. That's what's important. Because when we start swaying to one side or the other, that's when, you know, hurt people hurt others, or when, you know, we separate ourselves, right? Or you know, we're too enmeshed, you know, it has to be balanced. I mentioned tarot to her. I mentioned the zodiac. I'm like, she's like, there's a connection, right? I'm like, totally. There's so much that's interconnected. As it is, we're all interconnected, living beings, right? We're all interconnected in how we do life. You know, when we open up our hearts to each other, we're able to find something that resonates. We're able to find a connection so that when I continue to do life with you and I continue to, you know, interact with you in that moment, I can connect with you and empathize with you, and that connection pulls me closer to you, makes me more empathetic and open to hearing your truth, right? If I shut it off, if I'm like, oh, you're completely different, if I'm already going in that mindset that you are different than me, there's not a lot of opportunity to connect, right? But we can only connect when we're vulnerable with each other, when we share underlying truths, when we open up that heart chakra, right? Otherwise, we're purposely creating a separation, a gap between each other. So we were just talking about how you know, she happens to be of Asian descent, how there's, you know, culturally, right, growing up, things that she was exposed to that it was just part of her daily thing, and there was something connected to it, right? And then that you have, she mentioned palm reading, and I had heard of that too, and she's like, they never used tarot. It was always just the palm, but it was always on point. Again, another tool, right? Another tool. It's all interconnected. It's all interconnected. So I was so excited. I was just so excited that you know, I was slowly opening up. And then I told her, I'm like I mentioned, like every time I open up to a certain degree, people will resonate. And then once I start branching off into like this taboo stuff, or this stuff that, you know, as society, we only picture certain people believing, then it's like, so I got really excited, you know, like there was a sense of relief, like, okay, I'm not the only one, you know, who sees a potential connection, right? And just this mission that I'm on to find the balance, right, with everything, the balance and the connection, because we're all interconnected, right? So there has to be a connection to this balanced truth, right, that exists in the world for all parts of ourselves. And I was so hyped up and so excited to share, right? And we ended our conversation, and we agreed to stay in contact on a weekly basis, you know, and continue connecting. I then connect with someone else on the phone through Facebook, and I feel really bad because I was still on this high of like, yay, you know, super excited. This person's struggling, and I wasn't mindful of that, and I just kind of my excitement just bled into there, and then I sensed it. I sensed that I was like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. Like, I should have been more mindful of how much I shared, because this person was really struggling, really hurting, and then it led me to think about this other person that's struggling right now, and the response that I got when I was trying to be playful and fun, and this person just wasn't having it, and kind of, you know, there was an exchange of stuff, and so I started crying. I was like, you know, just sitting with it. I felt a little guilt. I felt bad for being happy, you know, and then part of me is just like conflicted with, should I have been more mindful of what I said, if that's how I was feeling, if I filter it, knowing that this other person is hurting. You know, there's a balance, right? I'm needing to learn. I'm needing to learn a balance of how to communicate what I'm communicating, when I'm communicating. I ask God for that. I asked God for that when I meditated, to find the balance. And there's all these opportunities, right, coming out today. You know, when you ask God for patience, he's going to give you challenging moments so that you can practice patience. Kind of like that. So I picked up on it when I interacted with this other person, and you know, this person said, I'm going to have to get back to you on that, because I really, and I know I said a lot. I was like, oh, like, like I should have put tape on it. Humor was one of Miss Pima's last teachings when I finished the book. Humor. How to laugh at yourself and your situation when you're learning the life lessons. How to welcome the unwelcome with laughter is what she says. Humor. And I think that's why I do a lot of giggling. I'm laughing at myself, right? My Yubi moments. I have to laugh at myself. I have to laugh at my situation. I was sharing with this person in Zoom this morning my initial challenges, right? When I had that mirror, that huge mirror lifted up to my face of like, how am I doing life? Like I'm living a lie almost, but not really, because it's my truth in that moment, but it's not my true truth, right? My true North Node truth that I know I need to be following. And this truth is not where I'm supposed to be. So not that I'm living a lie, it's just my truth, my present truth is not my North Node truth where I'm supposed to be. So does it make this experience, this present truth, less meaningful, less impactful, less hurtful, or less joyous, right? It just makes it as what it is, an experience in that moment, right? And recognizing that I can appreciate it, my current truth, however it may look like. If it's pain, if it's full of illness, if it's full of disappointments, disillusionments, right? Hurt, tears, joy, happiness, you know, all of that experience, and looking at it in a neutral, appreciative, joyful way of like everything, good, bad, the ugly of all of this experience, accepting it, right? Owning it, but still being able to laugh at it, you know, and I'm sharing with her just some of my experiences, the past challenges that I've been able to cry about, to sit with the discomfort, to process, right? To fear, experienced all the range of emotions, you know, back in September, August, September, October, those intense months that I had. The fact that I was able to go through that process of crying it out and sitting with the discomfort and really breaking that apart and looking at pulling the good from it, right? Pulling what's going to help me transform and appreciating it, thanking God for that experience. Neighbors are taking a shower. But just thanking God for that experience, for those people in my life, for this truth that I had been living, right? Thanking God for that. Because now I can appreciate this and I'm okay with letting it go, so to speak, however that may look like, right? Letting go doesn't mean you completely disconnect. It might, for some situations that are extremely unbalanced, it might, or it might be just transforming it to make it more balanced, but knowing myself a little more from that process, from my own transformation, and being able to move closer to my true North Node truth in a fun and loving way. Like I can't look back at it with regret or remorse or, you know, shoulda, woulda, couldas, right? I remember in grad school, it's like, don't should all over yourself for the past. Don't should all over you know, you can say it, and don't should all over yourself for what's happened. It's purposeful. There's purpose behind it, right? And when you are able to pull that nugget out, then it's like, yay, it was all worth it, right? And sometimes everybody's experience is different. I see that. I understand that. Even in the worst case scenarios, I mean, you have Justin Baldoni. There's a YouTube, I don't know if it's a channel, but if you Google My Last Days, he is recording the lives of individuals, young adults, older adults, right? A range of individuals with life-threatening or terminal illnesses. He calls this My Last Days. And he's recording them because there's a message. There's a message in the stories of those individuals who know they're terminal, who know their time on earth is counted. And yet they choose to live life with a perspective that blows you away. Blows you away. The movie, the Disney movie that came out, Clouds, is based on one of those stories. And I remember seeing the Last Days video of this young man and being blown away and so excited when the movie came out. Same thing for 5 Feet Apart. Another one of those individuals that Justin Baldoni recorded and documented, right? It's stories like that that change your perspective about your situation. It's stories like that that inspire you. It's stories like that that give you hope, right? In your darkest days, it gives you hope. Why was I talking about that? I felt guilty. I felt guilty. I felt guilty for being happy. I felt guilty for being a little too happy, where I wasn't mindful of my actions when I asked God for that opportunity to be more Payu, right? To practice Payu, to not get too excited. And I did well in one, and then in the other one I didn't. So I'm a work in progress, right? And I wanted to record on that because I felt really, I did feel bad, and I started crying. And then I realized, learning lesson. And I started laughing at myself. I started laughing at myself because I'm just like, okay, we move on, right? We kind of have to look at life like that, because there's going to be unexpected turns. There's going to be unexpected fumbles. I mean, there's going to be more Yubi moments. I know it. And I'm okay with embracing it. And I'm okay with being wrong, right? I'm okay with, I mean, for goodness gracious, I've shared my heart. You've seen my ugly cries. You've seen my ugly cries. As therapeutic as this experience has been, it's been very transformative. It really has, in terms of me being more comfortable with the uncomfortable within myself. And I have to balance. I'm still working on balancing. Still working. I'm still learning. I'm still growing. And I don't think that's ever going to go away. I choose to not let it go away. I choose to never get to a point where I have all the answers. That's my choice. That just because I have a degree doesn't mean I have all the answers. Just because I have a license doesn't mean that I'm the end all and be all, right? I choose to be a lifelong learner. I choose to be a lifelong learner. And it's making life that much more enjoyable. It's making life more bearable. It's making me view life in a different way that makes me appreciate everything, every moment, every individual, every experience. And it's giving me an opportunity to be more gracious with myself. And then so I can be more gracious with others. I am grateful. I am very grateful to God. All of this. Glory is to God. My love is to God. My faith is in God. The unknown. God is the unknown, right? When we're asked to practice the faith that we state we have. Faith, by definition, is believing in that which you do not see. Believing in that which you do not see. Practicing it. Saying you have faith is different than actually practicing it. Because it requires you to walk into the unknown. It requires you to not know everything, right? To trust that God will guide you, that God will give you the tools you need. And He is. He continues to surprise me in really great ways, where I don't fear the unknown. I mean, not as much. I'm still human. I don't fear it as much as I used to, And that's a good feeling. It's a really good feeling. That was all. I need to go work out. I'm on a commitment. Day 2, working out. Yay! 10:45. I can work out, and I need to have breakfast. So, and I need to finish Spain, the basic stuff, and picking the 3 regions. And tomorrow's the day that I press submit. So, you guys have a good one.